Welcome back, America. It's a pleasure to have with us for the first time, Kari Lake. You know, they try to destroy Kari Lake's reputation. That would be the media, as they do every conservative's reputation. So that means nothing to me or nothing to us here. They just go down the line and try and destroy what people have built over a course of time in their careers. And whatever you do, don't challenge them. Don't challenge them politically. Don't challenge them legally. Even if you hire lawyers, you go into court, you're upfront about it, you know, and you make your case and so forth. You're not allowed to do that. Otherwise, you're an election denier and you're interfering with them. And so we have Kari Lake with us. How are you, Kari Lake?
I'm doing well. I know I'm actually, if you've got enemies at this moment in history, you're probably doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And the people they fight the most are the ones that are right over the target. And that's people like you and me and President Trump and a whole bunch of others. And so I'm undeterred. Thank you for having me on, by the way. I'm so excited.
It's a pleasure. Now, you've written a book. Tell us about it.
I'm actually here in Scottsdale at a book signing. It's called Unafraid. You know how most politicians write a book, their consultants put it together, and they're doing it because they're running for something. That's just the opposite of how this book came about. This book came about after the corrupt individuals who run our elections like a banana republic in Arizona stole our victory. And I was in a pretty dark place, and I had a couple of publishers reach out and say, we want you to write a book. And I'm thinking, I don't know if you want me to write a book. I'm in a dark place right now. This might be a Stephen King horror book. But I decided to do it because I think the story is worth telling, how you can come from nothing like I did, you know, in rural Iowa, youngest of 9, worked my way to everything I got in life, worked my way to achieve, and somehow found myself through the grace of God in the middle of the political world at this consequential time. And so it's a book about how I ended up there, where we go from here, how we keep this America First movement going beyond this generation, because I believe that America First and what President Trump has brought on, and frankly, it was brought on also by Reagan and Goldwater, it is the only way out of the mess that the political elite have gotten us into. So it's a little bit memoir, a little bit political, it's a little bit suspense, it's a little bit history, and a little bit true crime story all wrapped up in one. And I'm really proud of it. Everyone who's read it said, oh my gosh, it's a page turner. I had no idea. And I don't hold anything back. I mean, there's punches that need to be thrown right now, Mark, and I throw them.
And let me just say something to the audience, and I know my audience knows it, but for beyond even. Kari Lake isn't the caricature that the media create every day. She's not that person. She is who she is. She's not who they create, a fiction figure, who they beat up on all the time, like some kind of conspiracy nut or election denier and so forth. That's what they are. And they do it every day, and they do it all the time.
That's right.
You decided to run for office. You decided now was your time because you're concerned about the future of the country. You gave up your career. You put together a very strong campaign. You raised a lot of money. You were everywhere. The pollsters told you that you were in very good shape. Then election day comes, and you lose. And you raise questions about it. And there were questions raised about what was going on in Maricopa County. Let's face it, if you don't win Maricopa County, you can't really win. That's Phoenix in the environment, in the metropolitan area there. And so, honest to God, it's not like the Democrats have always played by the rules. And so you hire lawyers to challenge them. The lawyers are attacked. The lawyers have filings filed against them. People want them removed and discredited. This is what's going on today in this country, isn't it, Kari Lake?
Yeah, because they know our cases are strong. They know what they've done is wrong. They know they're rigging elections. And, you know, nobody wanted to talk about 2020. You got canceled if you talked about it. And when I got into the race as a regular citizen who truly was recruited by the people of Arizona, when I walked away from my career, I walked away from a 7-figure contract. And the people were so moved by that courageous act that they said, would you please run for office? And, you know, maybe there was a bit of a bit naive. I thought that's what we're supposed to do. As our founding fathers expected citizens to step forward. And I did, and the swamp reached up, and they attacked me relentlessly for 525 days. But I said, I don't care what they say. We've got the people with us, and we're going to give the government back to the people. And they're so afraid of my number one policy, which is on day one, we're going to call it what it is at that border. It's an invasion, and we're going to take back the security of our border using Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the Constitution. I have the boldest, most aggressive border policy, and I believe that the powers that be, the political elite, said, oh my gosh, we cannot have this woman doing that because they're in on all of the shenanigans at the border. And they just right in broad daylight took this election. They rolled out broken equipment. They knew it was not going to work because it had been programmed not to work. And they rolled it out on Election Day knowing that 75% of the people voting on Election Day were voting for me. And they rolled it out, and they printed the wrong ballots intentionally, that they would jam the machines. It's outrageous what they did. And they wanted me to just walk away and not fight this. You know, we've been doing that for too long where we back down from a fight. Sometimes you got to stand up and fight back and throw the punches even harder. And that's what I'm doing. And we went through the court system. We have incredible evidence on our side, unlike the media saying there is no evidence. There's a ton of evidence. And we're fighting, and we're going to appeal it. We're on the verge right now of appealing it. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to try to get this into the Supreme Court. Because if we do not secure our elections, Mark, our country's gone. Our country's gone.
I mean, this is the same party. We have a federal judge on Independence Day who issues a decision in Louisiana who gives a chapter and verse about censorship by the Biden administration working with big social media, the oligarchs, volume after volume after, and the same people who attack you are attacking that judge now. Now, these are facts, what the judge put out there. Thank goodness for Elon Musk and others with Twitter and so forth. So it's you,
that's right.
It's Trump, it's DeSantis's wife, it's Elon Musk, it's this, it's that. At some point, it is they who have to be treated for the fools that they are, right?
I pray, and first we have to start getting our freedom of speech back, and I'm so thankful for this judge for doing the right thing. And, frankly, one of the guys running our elections in Maricopa County, sadly, Mark, I hate to tell you, he's got an R behind his name. He's a Rhino Republican. He is, in a way, I don't want to say implicated, but touched by this freedom of speech, this First Amendment ruling that came down on the 4th of July. He was involved in some of these groups that were defendants here. He was involved in a censorship program to shut people up who dared to question the criminality and the corruption in our elections. It's our duty as
Why not
Americans.
just let people speak, present their evidence, get in front of honest judges, and let the chips fall where they may? Kari Lake is our guest. The book is Unafraid. Just getting started. It's a fantastic book, folks. Get it at Amazon.com. And she's a very courageous lady, and we haven't heard the last of her. So you mentioned you went through a pretty dark period there for a while. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? Because a lot of people do, and they give up, but you obviously decided to take a different path.
Been, sounding the alarm about, the need to reform our elections to make them fair. Look, I don't want the elections to sway one way or the other. I want them to be fair, so even the most liberal Democrat knows that his or her one legal vote counts, and that most conservative Republican knows the same, and everybody in between. It's not that way. So when I've been sounding the alarm and talking about it only to be, criticized, the media attacking me, and then to have it happen in a way that was so egregious. It was highway robbery right in front of our faces. They almost as if they were laughing, like, yeah, we're going to steal the elections, and what are you going to do about it? And they wanted us to back down, and I just, I had 525 days on the campaign trail, giving everything I had, the people, a movement with us, and it hurt me personally, but I was in more pain for the people of Arizona who would stop me and say, you've got to fight this, Kari. If you don't, we can't. If the candidate backs down and says, well, I'll just give it a shot the next time, how can we, the voter, get anybody to listen to us? So I was feeling more pain for the voters and the people of Arizona, and I decided to hire attorneys and get investigators and put a case together. And it was dark because I just thought, how could these people that are also fellow Arizonans run these elections this way and live with themselves? How do they look themselves in the mirror? So that was the dark part. But, the great thing is, Mark, I believe so much in God, and I believe that God wants to wake people up as to what's really going on in this world, and we are waking people up. People are if they think that people are laying down right now and saying, licking their wounds, well, we're just going to go away. No, it's just the opposite. They've awoken a sleeping giant. It's moms and dads and, frankly, pissed off Americans. And these are people who haven't even been involved in politics, and they are going to show up in 24. They won't be able to print enough phony ballots. They will not be able to stop us in 24. And I don't want people to lose that passion. I haven't. We're closer right now, Mark, to saving our country and getting it back than we've ever been. We're closer than we were yesterday, than we were 3 months ago, than we were a year ago. And I have not lost any faith in this country. The foundation that our founders put forth, that Constitution, is still there. The house that's built on it is pretty rotten, the federal government. And we got to tear that down and start over.
The book is Unafraid, Just Getting Started. And it's a fantastic book. You can get it at Amazon.com. I encourage you to read it. And you'll get a really interesting, compelling, intriguing understanding of Kari Lake and who she is, not through the radical Democrat mouthpieces. I mean, they put 41 spies up the Biden campaign to claim that the laptop was a Russian trick. They pushed this whole Russia collusion, which we now know was a complete conspiracy by Obama, Biden, and their people. They denied that the Hunter laptop even exists. They covered it up. The FICE application process, you see what they did there. They spied on Trump's campaign, and then they're amazed when we say, hey, we think there may have been some election issues. Oh, what are you, a denier? What are you? They control the media, they control the culture, and you really got to duke it out with them to break through. And I want to ask you this, Kari Lake. How much support, when you were nominated, during your campaign, subsequent to the campaign, excuse me, did you get from Mitch McConnell?
Well, I wasn't running for Senate, so I didn't really have any interaction with him, and the RNC wasn't really there, but then when I said, where were you guys? They said, well, we really support federal candidates. I will say Kelly Ward, who was in charge of
Can I just stop you one second? One second. Does the governor not get involved in the redistricting or districting of congressional seats?
Yeah, yes. You're right. The governor does. You're right.
So I don't understand why the RNC was playing stupid.
Well,
go ahead.
I grew up, I call it the red pill generation. I'm Generation X, between the baby boomers and Gen Z. And I came youngest of 9. I never expected a handout. So when I got into politics, I never expected anybody to help me. And I spoke to the people, and the people were with me. And I never expected a handout from the AZ GOP, the RNC, Mitch McConnell. I just said, we have the best policies. They're putting it Arizona first. We're going to secure the border. We're going to do common sense policies here. And I didn't feel I, needed to beg for their help. If they wanted to help, they could have, but we were fine without them. Our internal polling showed us up 10, 12 points, but we still fought every day of that campaign, even though our internal polling, that's the good stuff, the real stuff, said you're up 10 to 12 points. We still sprinted across that finish line. I wasn't going to leave anything to chance. And the people are with us, and the people are crestfallen. There was a pallor over the state of Arizona. They're just shocked that they have this drip who couldn't even communicate. She had no policy. She didn't show up. She didn't debate. She was the female version of John Fetterman and Joe Biden. And I'm here to tell America, if we don't get serious about reforming our elections so that they're fair and honest, we're going to get 1,000 more John Fettermans, Katie Hobbs, and Joe Bidens, and that's going to be our future. And so this is our time to stand up. We have 14 months to stand up and say, no, we want and we demand honest elections, or we're doomed as a country. And I'm going to be leading the charge. I'm happy to do it. I take this battle and this fight on with gladness. I'm just thrilled that God put me here right now. I was raised to be a fighter, and I'm not letting this country go, Mark. This country that 247 years ago, 56 brave men signed their death warrant. I'm not going to have this country fall on my watch, on my generation's watch. And I'm going to do everything I can to stand up and fight for it. And so that's where we are. I don't care what the media says. I know you feel the same way. They can call me names all day, and they're on a mission right now to try to bring me down because I'm right over the target. The media is irrelevant. The fake news media is irrelevant. And they can scream from the mountaintops and call me all kinds of names, but we've got a year and 4 months, and I'm going to use every day to fight to right this ship. And that's why I'm for President Trump. I think he's the only man who can turn this around right now. These other people they're not serious. They don't like the people who are behind them. President Trump is with we the people, and he's got great policies, and I like that he's a fighter.
All right, Kari Lake, thank you so much. The book is Unafraid, just getting started. You can get it on Amazon.com. It's a great book. And rather than think you know about Kari Lake, read about her. You're going to be enormously impressed. Forget about the media.
It's a page turner.
It's a page turner. There you go.
You might be up all night. If you're up all night, don't blame me.
I'm up all night anyway. I can't go to sleep. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
You and me
all
both.
right, Kari, thank you. God bless.
God bless you.